What's up YouTube? This is Rybo at the Bench, and today I'm going to do another head-to-head matchup. So tonight we have the well-known Spyderco Delica 4 and the Spyderco FRN Chaparral. Many people think that these two knives are, competing in every way in Spyderco's lineup. I kind of get it, although I disagree. I think, to be honest, the Para 3 lightweight competes more with the Delica than the Chaparral. But many people think that the Chaparral, because it has better steel, more efficient, smaller, and it's not that much more expensive than the Delica after the price hikes, is kind of a Delica killer. So I'll probably do another review pitting the Delica and the Para 3. But for tonight, since these are roughly in the same price category, I figured that I would do a head-to-head. So a note about price real quick. I don't include price as one of the categories only because I want these reviews to be as relevant for as long as they can. And if I include price and the Delica goes through a price decrease or a price increase, or this guy goes through a price increase, it's really not relevant anymore if something is based strictly on the price. So when I do a head-to-head, I'm looking for a knife that's roughly in the ballpark, $10, $20, in the ballpark of the other knife. And just get an idea of what do you get when you take two knives that are roughly equal in price and pit them against each other. So hopefully that makes sense and hopefully that works out. So here are the categories: pocket clip, scales, overall size, which includes things like the weight, the height, the thickness, the efficiency of space, etc. The ergonomics, the action, detent, just how enjoyable is it to open the knife, close it, that kind of thing. The blade, shape, size, cutting ability, etc. Steel, lock system, these are both lockbacks, and the intangibles. Just which one am I reaching for? Which one, all things put together, which one works best in the hand for me? Very subjective. And this whole review is going to be subjective. So let's get started. Before I do, I'll just give a quick overview. Everyone knows the Delica 4, VG10 steel. This is a Japan Spyderco. And this is not the original clip. This is a deep carry clip that was put on afterwards. And this is the FRN Chaparral. So this has got the wire clip, also a lockback. This is a Tai Chung Spyderco in CTS XHP steel. And you got a little Spidey there. I love the, I don't know if all Tai Chung Spydercos are like this, but you can see that spider, I think you can see, is actually like etched in, or just, it's not just laser engraved on. There's some actual texture there, which is pretty cool. That's the only Spyderco that I've seen like that. So pretty cool. But you also have FRN scales on that. So let's close these up and get started. So number one, pocket clip. This one is going to be an easy win for the FRN Chaparral. The wire clip is awesome. Spyderco gets that now. That's why they're putting it on pretty much everything. I would assume that, most, at least lightweight knives, but probably most knives coming out in the future are going to have the wire clip. At least I hope so. Because I think the wire clip in a lot of ways is just one of the best clips on the market. I put this aftermarket deep carry clip because I did not like the spoon clip. I've just had so many problems with it, getting caught on things, falling out of pocket. It loosens up too easily to me. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It's a fine clip, and I actually like it more than I like things like Steel Wheels clip or something like that, but just not my favorite clip. So easy win here. All right, scales. This one's tough because handle material is the same in each. So this is the classic kind of spider web. What do they call it? The bi-directional texturing. So you've got, you're kind of going against the grain there, going against the grain there. And so it works very well in the hand. This is something a little bit different. I had never seen this before. This is kind of a honeycomb pattern. Pretty grippy, no complaints there. Works fairly well in the hand, and I think on a smaller knife, you do want something that's a little bit more grippy. So, I think that works just fine. So making a decision on which one is my favorite, I think really this one is totally subjective. I mean, both of these are absolutely fine. The texturing on both is absolutely fine. And to be honest, I think I like the way that this looks a lot better. However, I think that this is probably a more tried and true handle design material, whatever you want to call it. I think the bidirectional is actually very practical when you think about the way that you're holding the knife. You're pushing against this way, but when you're pulling out, you're kind of pulling up against that way. So I think that's very well thought out. and it's just tried and true. It's what you have on the many other knives. You have similar designs. So while I like the look of this better, I think the honeycomb is really awesome. I think this is probably just more proven so far, and you don't see this coming out on a lot of other knives. So I'll give a slight advantage to the Spyderco, to the Delica 4 on that one, but totally subjective. Overall size. So you can see right here that the Delica 4 is a bigger knife than the Chaparral, at least in terms of total package. I'll bring in the scale real quick to do a quick weight check. So we're going to have 2.3 ounces on the Delica 4, 2.1 ounce on the Chaparral. So 0.2 ounce difference, not a ton there. And so they're roughly equivalent in weight. And for that extra, 0.2 ounces I said, you're getting, let's see. You're getting a total length of a little over 7 inches versus a total length of about a little less than 6.5. And of usable blade, we're looking at, this is tricky to do, 2 1/4 versus about 2.5? Did I do that right? Yeah, maybe closer to 2.5 on the Chaparral. So roughly the same blade, but a larger handle here. So I think, that's absolutely totally fine. Given a little bit up in weight and getting back a decent bit of handle is totally fine. The Chaparral is known for just being a very efficient knife. I mean, if you look at this, one of the complaints about the Delica, and I think you can make the same complaint about the Para 3, honestly, is that you have a lot of wasted space in here. The Delica comes in here. You can see blade centering is not super great. Never has been on these lockbacks. But you can see that you have a lot of wasted in space there, a lot of wasted space right there. And if you look at where that knife is coming in, you have a lot of space in there that's just nothing but the backspacer. The Chaparral, however, is a very efficient knife. You can see that it's taking up all of that space right there. And more of the blade is seated in the handle. So I think this makes a definite more efficient use of space. It is lighter. It's basically lighter and more efficient and much smaller when closed. If you want to, let me do a quick measurement of that. So 3 3/4 about, and you're looking at 4 1/4. Yeah. So a good bit smaller in the pocket. And then the final thing I want to show is, the workbench, I don't really have a better way to do this, but if I were to do a thickness just to show how much thicker the Delica is, we are looking at that thickness right there. Compare that against the Chaparral. And you can see that it's a good bit thicker. I think it's something like 3/8 versus 5/16, if I remember correctly. But you can see that the Delica is really quite a bit thicker in the pocket. So all those things considered, I think the advantage definitely goes to the Chaparral on that. Ergonomics. So ergonomics, you have the new kind of finger choil here. You can easily get 4 fingers on the handle. And so that's a good thing, feels great in the hand. And the Delica obviously has some contouring here, which is nice. Does not have the forward finger choil, but definitely has a longer handle. Sorry, there's a helicopter flying right over us right now. Hopefully you can't hear that. But easily allowed 4 fingers on the handle there. So no complaints there at all. So again, this one's pretty tight. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to the Delica 4 actually, because I think that thicker handle actually just makes it a lot more enjoyable to use. This has always felt a little thin in my hand. It does feel very comfortable, but it's very thin, and I think that for longer periods of use, this feels absolutely fine. I think the design here is a little bit dated. It doesn't have that finger choil like something like the Para 3 does. But it's still very comfortable. I think these fit the hand just fine, and you don't really need it if you are getting all 4 fingers back here. So I'm going to give a slight advantage to the Delica 4 there. Action detent. All right, so these are both lockbacks, so it's not like you're going to be flicking these knives open. I mean, you can do it with the Delica 4. You absolutely cannot do it on the Chaparral. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just, everything is much tighter on here. You have a stronger lockback with metal backspacer on this one, but this is not enjoyable to use. It's a fantastic knife. It is very solid and probably, if I had to guess, a lot stronger than this one with that plastic or FRN backspacer. But you would never flick this knife open. I mean, you're just not going to get it done. So in my opinion, the Delica has the lockback that is more enjoyable to use. And, both of them, I think, are very solid. I wouldn't have any concerns. But in terms of overall action, this one is just very, very smooth to open and close. This one is pretty, I don't know if you can tell that, but it's pretty springy. I mean, you have to really push open there, and then you've got to just hammer down, and you can't really even shake it to close typically. So I'm going to give the advantage to the Delica 4 on that one. But no issues either way. They're both lockbacks. They're both totally fine. No issues at all. All right, blade. So these have, pretty recognizable Spyderco blades. This one's longer and thinner, coming to a more tapered point. This one's a little bit fatter, kind of leaf style blade. Both roughly the same size. I mean, you're getting, let's see. Yeah, you're getting a little bit more blade on the Delica 4 than you are on the Chaparral, but I believe you're getting, well, that wouldn't be the way to do it, but I believe, yeah, you're getting a little bit thicker, or I'm sorry, wider blade on the Chaparral. And so, I mean, really, they're pretty close. And this is one that I just have no idea. I mean, when I look at them both, this one's probably, I don't know. This one's very slicey. They're both really slicey. They're both really awesome blades. It's really hard to give an advantage to either one. I'll give the advantage to the Delica. I don't even know if that's right. I should probably just call this a tie. I mean, I'm just going to really do that because the Delica is a longer blade. This is very slicey. I really like the thickness on this one, but this one is just bigger, and I guess just slicier. I don't know. Who knows if I'm doing this right, but, we'll go with that. All right, the steel, this is an easy win for the Chaparral. So this is VG10 CTS XHP. This is going to be sharpened more often. It's going to get dull quicker. This is not. They both take a great edge. No complaints really either way around, but I sharpened this one a lot less, so I'm going to give the advantage there. Lock system. So they're both lockbacks, but like I said before, they're both very different lockbacks. So this one has metal back here. This one has plastic. I have not taken this one apart. I have taken this apart. Lockbacks are not super fun to get back together. However, it can be done. This one I said was much more enjoyable to open and close, I think partly due to the thicker lockback bar right here, and probably partly due to just the construction. It's just a little bit more open, not quite as tight and efficient as this one. And so this one is more enjoyable. However, if it came down to which one I trusted more, I would definitely go with the Chaparral. This one just feels solid. When you open this, and you can probably hear the difference, that feels solid. When you open this, just a little bit more tinny. I think they're both totally fine, but this is the one I would trust a little bit more over the Delica. So I'm going to give the advantage to the Chaparral there. All right, so here we are yet again. Did not plan for this at all, but we are at a dead tie, and so the tiebreaker is going to be the intangibles category. So I'm going to have to make this up on the spot. Because I don't know where I sit on this. If you don't consider price at all, the more enjoyable knife to use is probably the Delica 4, honestly. I mean, it's a bigger knife. It's more comfortable in the hand. It's rounder. It has more contouring. It's just not quite as rigid as this guy is. It has a longer blade. It's a little bit more slicey. Actually, they're probably the same amount of slicey, but it's got a longer blade, so it's kind of sliced more, I guess. I don't know if that's a thing. And so in that sense, like this one's probably the winner. But then if you think about like, well, daily carrying, this one is super lightweight. You get the same size blade almost, you know, a little bit smaller. You get a little bit better construction. You get the wire clip, and you know, you get that forward finger choil, which is really nice. And you get just an overall smaller profile in the pocket. And so that's really compelling for that reason. And so it's really hard to make the decision. All things considered, if I'm thinking about this as a daily carry, cut or carry, which one would I cut if I had to? I think I'm going to go with the Chaparral, and it's just by an edge. And really, you know, this has been getting a lot more pocket time than I expected, even with the Chaparral, just because it is a more comfortable knife to use. But I think I have to consider this knife as it comes stock, which is with the spoon clip. And the truth is, when this has the spoon clip on it, I just don't carry it as often because I really like a deep carry. I'm worried about this coming out of my pocket. It's happened 2 or 3 times with the spoon clip. And so this just gets a lot more pocket time. When this goes in the pocket, it disappears, but I still have almost the same size blade. You know, so I'm gonna give the edge and the win to the Chaparral. It's a great knife, but so is the Delica 4. I think they're both fantastic options for carry. You know, I think this right now at the time of video, I think is around $90, maybe a little bit less, and this is like $78. So that's the price as of today. I think they're both phenomenal knives. This one has been around for so long for a good reason, and it's still a knife that I think can compete with newer offerings like this. But I think at the end of the day, just because of how efficient, how much you get in a small package, and it basically offers pretty much what the Delica does and just a little bit better, while, you know, cutting a few corners in terms of ergonomics and just kind of I don't know, ease of use, I guess. I think this is still the winner. So I'm going to give it to the Chaparral today, but the Delica 4 is still a phenomenal knife. Hopefully you've enjoyed this very long video, and have a great day.